when I say the power of embracing whatever that thing is about you that you do not like, you get to that space, it opens up the world. People treat you so many times the way you treat yourself.
Welcome to another episode of Leaders in the Spotlight with me, Taiji Charity.
This podcast is for C-suite leaders to discuss their experiences and provide insight, encouragement, and inspiration for seasoned and inspiring leaders, offering valuable solutions to today's challenges that will inspire, ignite, and invigorate new and seasoned leaders to walk in their God-given authority with compassion, kindness, and empathy. So sit back, relax, and be prepared to be inspired with today's episode
Of Leaders in the Spotlight.
Thank you.
Welcome to another episode of Leaders in the Spotlight with me, Taiji Charity. Today's guest is my girl, Audra Bryant, a TEDx speaker, empowerment coach, author, and multi-genre artist dedicated to helping individuals transform their scars into sources of strength. Audra's journey began at 18 months old when an accident left her with severe burns. After years of struggling with self-acceptance and trying to hide her scars, she had a breakthrough at 25, realizing that everyone carries scars, visible or not. This led her to embrace her own scars and create the empowering anthem, Scars, along with her transformative book, I've Got Scars, Baby. How to embrace your scars and power your purpose, which offers guidance on turning personal struggles into empowerment. Audra, welcome to the show. Girl, I've been waiting. She's here, y'all.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And first of all, I just want to pay homage where homage is due.
Oh,
to these boots right here. Okay?
Yay to the boots. Yes to the boots. Okay, now I feel like we're on the Wendy Williams show. Boot cams.
But also to you as well. I'm so grateful to be here and speak with you.
Yay.
And yeah, because you're my girl. Yes.
I love it. I had the pleasure of meeting Audra. TEDx. We both were on the TEDx stage together, and wasn't it an experience?
It was.
What did you think about the TEDx experience?
First of all, I'm just so grateful that we had the time to develop.
Yes.
Because the level of pressure of being on that stage with that light shining down on you.
Right.
You couldn't have just said, hey, Audra, go on out there and do this. And I've been on stages before.
That part.
But I'm like, woo, this is another level of
right. You respect the brand.
You really do.
You respect
and that's
the brand.
What it was. I mean, it was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
I felt like, of course, I was just incredibly nervous before. But then you just get to that point where you're like, all right, God, have your way.
Yes.
You go out there and you're happy that you did all the rehearsing.
I'm just
that you
a vessel,
did, okay?
and you just do your thing.
Exactly. And it was phenomenal. I truly enjoyed that experience, and then to share it with all of you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It was
phenomenal.
so powerful,
Yeah.
and you were just so gracious in your delivery. Every movement you made, it felt very poetic.
Oh,
I was like, girl, you better tell them about them scars. It was just so beautiful, and it helped, I think, the audience resonate with the fact that, yes, we do all have scars, but scars cannot hold us back. Scars actually empower us to do the thing that we were called and created to do.
Yeah.
So tell me, you at 25 is when you decided you were going to embrace your scars. And guys, you got to listen to her TEDx talk. That's first and foremost. But talk about that. How did you get to that place where I'm ready to embrace this? It is what it is. And your scars were physical. Where people could actually see. Like you have. Tell us about that.
So you get to the point where you think you're okay. You think you're okay hiding. You think you're okay wearing turtlenecks and t-shirts that cover everything. And it's funny because one day, a friend of mine who I had known since I was like maybe 13 or 14, And I was tugging on my shirt one day, like I always did. She'd seen it forever. And she looked at me and she's like, why do you keep doing that? And I looked at her like, you know why I keep doing this, because I don't want anybody to see my scars. And she's the sweetest person in the world. She was finally at that point where she was just like,
Enough is enough.
yeah. That was the first time she'd ever done that. And so I started to actually, went about my business, doing my thing. And I always felt like I wanted to encourage other people. I've been a songwriter. I've been writing songs since I was 8. I want to encourage people. I'm like, so I had a conversation with God. I was like, all right, God, yeah, I want to get out there, sing these songs and do all of this. And God was like, how can you encourage someone else if you won't even look at yourself in the mirror?
Ooh, girl, that sound like God.
When I say I had never heard that before, I had never had that kind of experience. Like, no, this is not me. And I was just like, whoa. And one of the other moments, because one of the things that I struggled with was feeling so different.
In what way?
Because when you have a physical difference, people can see it. It's like, what happened to you? What happened to you? And you don't want to have those conversations.
You just get over it at some point, right?
You're just like, let me just cover up so I don't have to address it.
Right.
And so it got to the point where I was just like, again, in that moment, that's when God was like, Audra, everybody has scars. Some on the outside and some on the inside. And that was the absolute first time, again, that part of me was healed. I didn't feel so different than everybody else. And I think a lot of times we see ourselves one particular way. We see ourselves as, I have to be perfect for the world to accept me. Really, you accept yourself, and it makes it easier for others to accept you.
Right. And especially because the world ain't perfect.
No! Everybody is going through what they're going through.
Right.
But I just felt like all eyes are on me.
Yes.
But it also, and I think if I think about my experience at 3 years old in ballet class, that's the first time I showed my scars to other people outside of my parents and doctors.
Right.
When you walk in ballet class and you have basically something on just like this.
Like a halty, you call it a halty top?
So
What do you
it's
call
like a
those?
unitard.
Unitard, okay.
Or a leotard, right?
Okay.
And you walk into class, and the first thing people see, the kids, because kids,
kids
they're
are
going to tell you the
ruthless.
truth.
Kids are ruthless.
They're like, what is that? What happened to you? Ew, all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Too much attention. Not something I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to not have this. And I think about how many people want to not have the thing that they have that's challenging for them. And they feel like I would be okay
If I didn't.
if I didn't have this. So that's where I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you use that pain for purpose because now you are, you're an author, you're a speaker, and you have a consultancy business. And prior to that, you worked in the entertainment industry as a casting director, right?
Yes.
Casting for big shows and...
Yeah, I've worked for shows like America's Got Talent, Jeopardy, and lots of dating shows and things like
Girl,
that.
I remember when you told me you cast for Jeopardy. I was like, get my husband on the phone, get my daughter, because they're always home playing Jeopardy. And I'm like, I'm tired of you winning money at home. Can you
Okay.
go to the show and bring this money home,
Okay.
sir?
Exactly.
So what was that transition like for you to be from casting to now consultant, public speaker, running your own business? What was that transition like? Or do you still work in the entertainment industry?
So I work in the industry from time to time.
Okay.
But it's very interesting because moving into business, I'm a creative. Let me just first say that.
Right.
I actually took...
You've been writing songs since 8 years old, of course.
Yes. I am such a creative. So I actually took a evaluation with a coach one time, and my results were, he was like, yeah, you're 90% creative and 10% business. I was like, well, that makes sense because I would rather.
Right.
Like, let me write a script, let me write a song, but
run a business,
numbers, blah, blah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's definitely been a challenge moving into this area, but how casting has actually helped me in coaching and things, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I'm talking to people about their lives, their life stories. There are so many things that you have to get down to the root of things many times when you're speaking to someone.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a show.
Right.
So you're conducting interviews, you're having these conversations. And I was like, wait a minute. Was God
prepping you all along?
preparing me to move into this space? Because I did not start out, oh, I want to be a public speaker, or I want to, no, not at all. No, I wrote my song, Scars, because, again, it took me about 10 years to get to a space, because I always wanted to write a song called Scars and about my scars, but it always came out sad. It always came out sad. It was just like, oh Lord, my scars, I'm so sad. Why God do this to me? You know, like,
woe is me. Woe is me.
Yeah, and I was like, this is not good. This is not good at all.
Right.
When I finally got to the space where I had embraced my scars for real, that's when the song, when I say that, I wrote that in maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Are you serious?
Came right out. Right out.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, okay. And I found that I would go and I would perform the song, and I would share a little bit about my story before. And then I would sing the song, and people would come up to me afterward and show me their scars or talk to me about their scar experience. And that's when I said, wait, maybe I need to do something with this.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a thing. I had a cousin in his late 70s show me a scar on his leg I had never seen. I'd known him since I was a baby. And he was just like, yeah, that's why I don't wear shorts. I was like,
interesting.
Yeah.
So you gave people permission to show those scars.
Yeah. And I just said, people have been waiting on an opportunity to not feel like they have to be perfect.
That's good.
To be accepted for the wonderful things about them, and then the aspect of them that maybe they're still working on, or it may never change. This is just what it is.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, this is not going to change. This is what it is.
Right.
Does a person deserve love in those spaces?
Absolutely.
Or not? Exactly.
Absolutely.
They absolutely do.
I love that you not only deal with the physical scars, but you talk about the hidden scars as well. And I know in the song, when you first sent me the song and the lyrics, because she opened her TEDx talk with her song, with a line from the song. And that part, I got scars, baby, trying to tear down these walls, baby. But tell me, am I still beautiful? Girl, I was like, somebody give me the tissue box because I was done.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful because a lot of times we do hide behind the wall of scars and we don't know how to break free.
Yeah.
And you're giving people permission to like, look, use your scar to connect with somebody else because people connect around different things.
Yeah.
And you can connect around people's scars, whether it's emotional scars, physical scars, and you're helping people do that. So
Yeah.
when did the book come along?
Yeah, so started with the song, then I started doing some panel discussions for burn survivor organizations and
For burn
things.
survivors? Okay.
And then I started a podcast called I've Got Scars, Baby.
Oh.
And featured people who essentially had various types of scars. So, you know, from 3 kidney transplants to lung transplants to
wow.
sexual abuse to all types of things, and how they moved powerfully through those experiences. And so someone actually approached me and said, I think you should do a book. And I was just like, what do I have to talk about? I really said that. I'm like, And so they're like, your story. And I'm like,
Scars, remember?
and I'm like, okay. Because there's still a part of me that's very shy. And I just, you know, like,
Yeah.
and so I wrote the book. And what I was very focused on is the book not just being a memoir, not just a memoir,
Yeah.
but I wanted it to help people reflect on their own stories.
Okay.
So at the end of every chapter, there are questions for people to reflect on their experiences.
That's good.
Because I think we don't.
Yeah.
We just are traumatized by life, whatever experience. And then we just keep our head down and keep it pushing.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, you understand
Yeah.
that this experience probably is affecting this experience over here, and then that experience is probably affecting this one and that one. So you definitely need to acknowledge what's happening over here and what happened,
Yeah.
because it can then influence other areas of your life. So you're not feeling like, why am I struggling so much over here?
Absolutely.
And then removing the shame from it.
Yes, that's a big part. Removing, as you're talking, I'm thinking of that scripture in Revelation that says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. It's like the power of your story cannot be underestimated. Like it is the thing that again connects you with people. It is the thing that helps you overcome your own challenges by speaking life over it, but basically articulating what that thing is. And we have these emotional things we're going through. What is this emotion? What triggered this emotion? And then what do I need to do to overcome, to combat that emotion?
Exactly.
Especially if it's a negative emotion.
Yes, exactly. And I think we don't have that conversation with ourselves. That was the hardest part for me, was to acknowledge that where I was hiding myself was indeed a problem. It just becomes a part of what you do. You create systems around your trauma. I created systems. Okay, part of my system is step out of the shower, wrap a towel around myself, avoid all the mirrors, put my clothes on, and then
go back to the mirror. Wow.
How I dressed, how I carried myself, what I thought about myself was all rooted in my pain and shame surrounding my scars.
Wow.
And how is anybody different?
Yeah.
So if you acknowledge, oh, I do that.
Yeah.
That's probably not the healthiest thing for me to do.
Right.
And I've noticed that every time I get into a relationship, this is what happens. Or I notice every time I'm around this coworker that does this thing right there, this happens. Get curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? And
Something
that's
very powerful
okay.
about that question, why? Something's very
Yeah.
powerful about that question.
Why? And take a deep dive into the why. I mean, sometimes it's harder for us to take a deep dive on our own.
Yeah.
That is why, coaching and, you can deep dive with someone,
Yeah.
whether it's therapy or coaching, but take the dive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ignore it.
So the scars is what's unleashed the leader in you, right? And you had to embrace that that's what it was doing. It was unleashing the leader in Audra. So now you're able to coach other people.
Yeah.
What is that like? How do you get business? How do people find you when they say, I got a scar, I need somebody to coach me through unleashing the leader in me because I've been allowing this thing to hold me back and hold me captive. How do people find you to tap into all of the knowledge and wisdom to help them walk through the process of healing?
Yes. I mean, of course, I have a website, audrabryant.com. But a lot of times, whenever I'm on a platform and I share my story, even with my podcast, people would reach out, they would respond. I've even had conversations like at a birthday party.
Wow.
And just talking to someone and I ask them questions, like if they express something and you just kind of know, like, why did they say it like that? And I just ask a question.
Yeah.
It's almost a sense of relief. Like, oh, somebody cares about this aspect of me.
Yeah.
Can I really, I don't know why I haven't been able to lose the weight that I want to lose.
Girl, now you in my lane. Stop.
Now, first of all,
now you in my
you
lane.
can't be over here looking amazing talking about, okay, I'm going to ignore that part.
Girl.
But we don't understand that scars are trauma. We carry them in different ways. So even if we're talking about weight, a lot of times it's really more so about okay, are you taking the time for yourself?
Right.
Are you just constantly pouring into other people? And I have to say this because what I've started to see about myself, and I started to see it in other people that I coach as well, is what I call a strong ones complex.
Talk about it.
Yes. So the strong ones, a lot of times they are the firstborn. A lot of times they are the family, you the only hope. Everybody else, they've been through some things, but you're the responsible one. You're the one that everybody depends on. You're the mama. You're the daddy. You're the CEO. You know what I'm saying? You're the one that has the world on their shoulders.
The go-to person.
The go-to person. And you have a heart to give, to provide, to make sure everybody's okay. But what about you? Who makes sure you're okay?
Yeah.
Because you don't even have time many times to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
And so those are, and a lot of times we don't understand. I'll use myself as an example. I didn't know that I was that person either. the person that I'm gonna do my thing, you know, I got this, it's fine, you know, because you're used to showing up for yourself, and I don't know if somebody else is gonna help me or not, but I gotta get this and this and this and that done. And you stop learning how to receive.
Girl, this is starting to feel like a therapy session.
Woo!
Okay, talk to me. Talk to me. Woo.
Because you have to receive. You have to be in a space where, man, this was so hard for me. Vulnerability.
Yeah.
The strong ones.
Yeah. And you have to ask the question too, why does receiving make you uncomfortable?
Because it makes you vulnerable. Because you've learned through childhood or other experiences that I have to make it happen. This is my role. Now, when I say strong ones, that doesn't mean there are weak ones. That's not what I mean.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm like, okay, let me make sure I clarify. Okay? But I mean the people who take it upon themselves because of their experiences to say, I know that this has to be this way because I have to do it this way because I've always had to do it.
Like you're programmed.
Yes, you've been programmed. You take it on yourself even if you've had to, but it's still in your mind that this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the concept of the strong black woman, like all these different things.
Right.
The strong ones. And it applies across the board to so many different types of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you really do feel that this has to be this way.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that maybe it had to be that way when you were 7, when you were 15. But you deserve someone to listen. You deserve to be able to establish boundaries.
Yeah.
You deserve to be able to receive the love that you give out. And that's something that I struggle with because there's a part of me that always wanted to fit in. So
That's a mouthful.
you know?
There's so much to unpack in all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think acceptance is a thing for a common theme for all of us. I think we all want to feel validated. We all want to feel accepted. Now, what does that look like for us individually is up to the individual person. But it does, that self-love it's a necessity.
Yeah.
And we don't always know how to show ourselves that self-love, how to give ourselves grace, how to give ourselves permission to do all those things. Because when we do, then we can freely give to other people. Because oftentimes we're pouring out, but we're pouring from an empty well.
Yes. And then that builds resentment.
Yes, it does.
And you're exhausted. You're resentful. You get angry. And you can't express it because do they really deserve the anger?
Right.
Or I don't know how to feel. So you
Right.
ignore it, you push it down. Now it's affecting your health. And it's just,
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Okay, this girl, okay, look, they gave me that 5-minute warning.
Okay.
And I don't even know what to do with that right now because I feel like we're just scraping the surface on so many things. Scars is just such a powerful word and reality to so many things, especially the internal scars that people carry. I'm curious to know 2 things before I have to wrap it up. When you go out now and you wear like a short shirt or jacket that exposes your scars, to people who don't know you, are you impacted, or do people still ask you, oh, what happened? Do you still get that? And if you do, how does it impact you?
I'm so happy you asked that. What I have noticed is that, one, I don't get asked the question as much as I used to. Not at all. I don't like when I embraced it. I really don't hear many questions. So that's the first.
Ooh, that's a whole spiritual thing that we could unpack right there. But go ahead.
Then, if I do get comments, it's like, oh, it looks really beautiful. Like they think there are people who thought I've done it on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm just like, like, oh, it looks like a flower. Oh, it looks like this. And I'm just like, wow, well, thank you.
Interesting.
When I say the power of embracing whatever that thing is about you that you do not like, you get to that space, it opens up the world. People treat you so many times the way you treat yourself.
That's good.
Yeah. So the more you can love on yourself and appreciate yourself, the more others just naturally do. It's very interesting. I'll share this really quick because this did happen. I used to look at my baby pictures and I was very much like, ugh. I didn't like them. I didn't think I was very cute. And I started doing this thing during my focus on embracing my scars. And I started in October of that year. And I would look myself in the mirror and I would say, I am beautiful. And it felt so weird. It went right over my head. I didn't agree with it. But I kept saying, and I did it twice a day. Whenever I would brush my teeth, I would just say it. I did that from October until December of that year. Now, October, I had gone home and visited one of my friends, and he was like, everything was cool. By the time December came, because I've been saying it for that time, he said, nothing about me changed, except for that. He said, you're somehow more beautiful.
Oh.
He did not know.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to end that right there because that is so rich. But you had to believe it first.
I had to believe it.
And when you started believing it, everybody else started believing it seeing it.
And my baby pictures look different to me. I said, oh, I am cute. Oh, yeah.
You start seeing through a different set of lenses.
Yeah.
Oh, Audra, this is so beautiful. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for being here and for sharing just a little bit of your story. And I encourage you all to please check out her TEDx talk. It's called I Got Scars, right? Or is it called just Scars? What did you title your TEDx?
Oh, gosh. You about to put me on the spot.
Oh, we'll look it up. But
yes, TEDx Audra Bryant. It'll pop up there.
Okay, TEDx Audra Bryant, and it will pop up there. But it is such a powerful story and presentation of how she just delivered it, and she used all of the gifts from her song, singing part of it, opening with the song, ending with the song, and just the movement. You will truly, truly, truly be inspired. So thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Leadership Realities, and please do those three magical things: like, share, and subscribe, especially to someone who have a scar or scars that they have not yet dealt with. Please share this episode with them. We want to be an encouragement to them. So until next time, stay focused on your leadership journey because you have something on the inside of you that someone else needs. So until next time, bye now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I hope you were inspired and you gained some valuable nuggets that will help you to become a better leader and to walk in your God-given authority. Bye until next time.